When it comes to relationships, I want to make sure that my daughter values herself, her peace, and her education over a relationship with a man. She saw her mother be married to the love of her life for 20 years, but there was also a lot of toxicity in that relationship. My daughter never really saw me like date or do any of these things, and I don't necessarily feel like she needs to follow my path. Not everyone is going to be married, just like not everyone wants to go to college. But I do believe that she shouldn't be out here just like serial dating and things of that nature. I just want my daughter to be modest and mindful of her life and of her body and of her choices. Now, my husband and I, ex-husband, dead ex-husband, and I had 5 boys and 1 girl, and my daughter is actually the youngest. My oldest son is what, 23, 23, and the youngest child would be my daughter, and she's about to be 16. And I've had them since I was 18 years old. That's when my husband and I got married. We were married for 20 years. So he actually passed 2 years ago from an overdose. And there was a span of 8 years where I did not have custody of my children because of our drug addictions. So now I just spend all of my time in my life, my efforts, my energy, my resources in healing my family, healing myself, and acquiring more knowledge about my innate spiritual gifts and about the world and how to use food and energy to heal. So that's what we do. That's what I'm about. I make music, rap, sing, cook, clean. That's all I do. I don't go out. I don't have relationships. I actually cut off everybody I've ever known because they just weren't evolving. And so if you are not on a path to evolution, you are a distraction to me. And I just take life very seriously now since I've lost my life before and have been gifted another chance. I don't waste time with relationships or efforts that don't serve me. Any type of habits that don't serve me, gotta go. Any people that do not add value to my life, they have to go. Because I'm tired of people calling me trauma dumping, having excuses and complaints. Like, if you're not solution oriented, then I really have no use for you, yo. I don't even make excuses for myself because that prevents me from growing. So that doesn't serve me at all. Celibacy. I've been celibate since 2020, and it's going to stay that way. I've already had my children, and I'm not interested in growing my family anymore outside of my children having children. That's their season. It's their season to become men and women and find their partners and expand our family that way. I feel like it would be so ridiculous for me to get into another relationship with someone and expand my family, have more kids at my late age. Now all I'm focused on is power and information and knowledge. Like, I want to go into my sage era, like where I don't even have to talk because my mind functions at such a high frequency that it's just all processing, all processing. Like, I want to be in a constant spiritual state. Like, I'm trying to figure out the cosmos and like time travel and figure out all of the wonders of the universe. I have questions. And anything outside of that just seems kind of pointless. It's just life has taken on a different meaning. You know, I used to watch sitcoms and go to baseball games and stuff like that, but now it just seems like a distraction, like a pointless distraction. If it's not me building my empire, it doesn't matter. What happened to the days where we came up with theories and everything was a new adventure, and you know, we really crafted our lives from our passions? What happened to that? What happened to a thirst for life and a quest for knowledge? You know, I just remember being young, reading history books about these people with such epic lives who went on adventures and they discovered things and they created things and they designed things. And I always wanted a life like that. And I've really crafted my life to be that way. And so now my main focus is to make sure that I'm developing my people properly. I'm building a legacy, a dynasty. You know what I mean? Like, in 100 years, my last name is going to be directly connected to all the decisions that I made today, and that means something. It's very important. It's very important that I instill the proper morals into my children. I get that social media tells you that you have to be one certain thing, but you really don't. And unless my children see me embodying that, they're not going to understand it. Like, I don't dress or behave like the average person my age, or that people from where I'm from are. I'm from Baltimore, and even when I lived out there, I stuck out like a sore thumb. I used to dress real goth. Like, I low-key kind of still do. Like, most of my wardrobe is black. But I used to, for real, dress like it was Halloween. Because just my outside always matched my inside. So if I was feeling dark and dead, I dressed that way. You feel me? I used to be, like, seriously depressed all the time. Because I kept putting all of my effort and attention into other people, and just, I want to be loved, I want to be loved, I want to save the world. Girl, turn all that inside yourself. Save yourself, okay? Get to know yourself. Love yourself. And so it all comes back to how I want my daughter to carry herself and to see the world and to see relationships as a benefit, not a need. I don't feel like it serves my daughter to be dependent on a man. Interdependency is something that our entire race does. Yes, we are interdependent on nature. We are interdependent on God. But you can still be dependent without making your partner feel inferior. It's not about that. I want her to understand that there needs to be a balance of power in her relationships when she does finally find a mate, that you don't need to be led. You're not a child. You're an adult. So all this, the man will always lead in a relationship, all of this, it's a journey that you need to take together. And I understand that this is a narrative that a lot of people spill and a lot of people push, but I'm not pushing that narrative. No one needs to be led. That means that you need to be controlled, that you are some kind of mindless idiot that can't think for themselves, and women are just these emotional beings that have no logic. I think not. What I believe is that in a relationship, you should have a balancing of power, the yin and the yang. You understand? You support each other. You give each other space. You determine what role each person is going to play in that relationship before you even get in a relationship. And then you respect it. You don't need to be led like some sort of dog on a leash. Like, I'm pretty sure you can lead yourself. You were leading yourself just fine before you got into a relationship with a man. So what do you need to be led for? Weird. We're all adults. We're not children. Children need to be led, not women. So I want my daughter to stand in her power and to always set firm boundaries. You cannot let people talk down to you or treat you any type of way, and you don't have to act an ass to make your point. You understand? Emotional maturity, because people are going to try to play on your top. My kids are mixed. I'm brown. We all get how the world is. Okay, I understand. You need to be able to play mental chess, and you need to become an alchemist. When people throw negativity at you, you need to know how to ball that up, turn it into something else, and throw it back. Instead of you falling apart, lowering your frequency, and then what was the point in doing all of that work to elevate yourself? So standing strong in her stature, understanding her power, standing in it, and setting firm boundaries in relationships. I mean, you need to set boundaries with animals, people, and plants, honey. I understand that everything I do, my children will do. So I can't just say one thing and do another. It doesn't work like that. My child is going to mimic my behavior. So she needs to see how I carry myself around men, that I don't show off, that I'm not all in their face, that I'm not super smiley, that I cover all the parts of me that are going to attract the opposite sex. Because, honey, I'm not on the market. Okay? You are not my friend. If a man is approaching you, it's because he wants to plant his seed inside of you. So you need to carry yourself accordingly, right? They'll snatch you right up your body if you don't know how to carry yourself. And these are things that you need to teach your child. These are things you need to teach your daughter. Understand? Because you have to move a certain way in this world when you are brown. You need to move a certain way in this world when you are small. You need to move a certain way in this world when you are female, or you're going to die. So that's just what it is. And I make sure that I develop that every day, because I don't have a mom or older sister or cousins to teach me how to be a woman. I had to learn by trial and error. I actually used to feel like standing in my femininity made me weak, and I stood in my masculine power a lot. I stood in my masculine energy a whole lot, and it's not like I wanted to be a man, but I just did not want to be seen as weak, and I thought being a female was weak. But you have to be so much stronger when you're a female. You have to be spiritually strong, mentally strong, and physically strong to thrive here. Because, again, People see you as a walking victim, but that's not what it is. And along the way, we also need to take responsibility for men feeling inferior, because sometimes we make them feel inferior by the way that we talk to them and the way that we treat them. We can change that by how we treat our sons and feeding life into them, not stroking their ego. Okay, Jupiter, not stroking their ego, Zeus. No, empowering them and making sure that they understand their place on the chessboard. Protection, security, and logic. Not control, suppression, and ignorance. Okay? So I take full responsibility in making sure that I'm producing sons that are in touch with their feminine side, i.e., they're in touch with their emotions, they can admit when they're wrong, and they don't have to force their way into situations. They can use their mind and use positive manipulation, as in moving all the pieces around the board to get the end result that they want, and not trying to conquer and pillage and take from everyone. We don't need that. We need more empathy. We need more logic. Just a balance. I've had to learn how not to try to make clones of my children. Like, I don't need you to be like me. I want you to take all the best parts of me, all the best parts of your dad, everything that you've learned from other people in the world, and then put your own flavor on it, and then find out who you really are. But there are just some things that it's a non-negotiable. You're going to be educated. You're going to carry yourself with respect, and you're going to keep it 100. And so, moving forward, thank you so much for spending time with me here in Fury World. Do you have these type of discussions with your daughter? Are there certain things that you believe in that you feel like is necessary that they can only learn from you? If you passed away today, do you feel like your daughter can stand on her own 2 feet in this world and thrive? I love you. I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.